Good morning, meteorologist Bob Acarfrio with a tropical update for Saturday, July 30th, 2011. Well, what do we have across the tropics today? We have Don, which is done. Don is done. Amazing. If you watched any radar or satellite imagery last night as Don moved ashore, it was probably the quickest. This storm just disappeared over Texas. It just went away. Poof, goodbye. Amazing the amount of dry air over Texas right now, and unfortunately for them, did not give them the rain they needed to even put a little dent in this drought. So that was unfortunate, and it's it. Don's done. So we turn our attention to the rest of the tropical Atlantic. The main feature, we're not really worried about this guy here. Potential to develop if it would have had time over water, but that's going to move into Central America. This is the guy right out here across around. We're now passing the 45 west marker here. And this is Invest 97L. The National Hurricane Center gives it a 70% chance of development in the next 24 to 48 hours. We have hurricane hunters tentatively scheduled to go out in this system tomorrow afternoon. They probably will. And by that time, we may even have a tropical depression or even tropical storm Emily by then. It's definitely getting better and better developed as the hours go by. So this is going to be our main player that we'll probably be tracking over the next 7 days. And now I'm going to get into where it's going or where it may possibly go and all that good stuff. All right, so first let's look at the satellite loop of this system here. This is Invest 91L out in the Central Caribbean. Again, it's just putting on the latitude and longitude. You can see it has passed that 45 west marker now as it heads towards 50. Gaining more latitude, so definitely getting more spin to it. You can almost see the cloud expanse starting to widen here. Outflow starting to develop on all sides here. So this is definitely a developing system. Still has to consolidate more, but it's definitely getting there, and a nice spin to it. It has all the markings of a developing tropical system here. Put a little color on the map. Again, you know, convection is not going crazy right now. It's still trying to get together. Still a lot of dry air around the system, but it's a big enough system where it should be able to fight this dry air. We saw small systems like Brett, and then with Don, that shear, and well, Brett was more shear, Don was more both dry air and shear. And you see those small systems really get affected by both of those components pretty quickly. Even though there is a lot of dry air around the system, it has such a well-organized circulation center, and it's large enough where it should be able to fight that dry air. It may take its time in the next few days, but it should be able to overcome that. But that's really the only deterring factor right now, because shear is looking, forecast is looking pretty favorable from here through the islands for development. Wider pictures just to show you what we have on the map. Here was that tropical wave here. That's going to move into Central America and not develop. Here's our system here, and you can see the expanse in the last probably 6 to 12 hours of outflow starting to develop on all sides of this system. And that's what these systems need to breathe. You saw with Don, he wasn't breathing. Thus, he didn't develop into barely anything. You need these systems to breathe, and this system's starting to breathe. You could just see the curvature here. Outflow here, outflow here, outflow to the west. It's really starting to expand and get going. And here's the islands right here. Northern Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, eventually Dominican Republic. All these areas need to be on alert right now for a developing tropical system, possibly a tropical storm or hurricane affecting these people by about Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. Probably by about that Tuesday time frame, right in the Northern Leewards, and then over to the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico by about Wednesday. So this is going to be the area. If you're living in these areas, or if you're traveling down there, be aware of this developing system out to the east here. Upper low here, not going to affect our system. Looks like it's trying to sink a little farther south. We have a little bit of wind shear here. If this tut feature came south, it could shear our system, but that looks like it's going to stay north. And again, here's water vapor loop, same thing. Here's that upper system here, not going to affect it. Again, you see all that dry air, you know, out in front of this system. But again, look how big, look at the envelope this system has encompassed here with a lot of this moist air. So I think it's going to protect itself from that drier air really getting into the circulation. And we should see, again, the system on its way to developing. Wind shear. So here was that tut feature way up north, not really going to affect us. Higher shear to its north, you see an upper anticyclone trying to form over our system. So, wow, you see this look and you're like, yeah, this thing's going to start developing, and it definitely will. And it really looks like pretty favorable shear all the way to the islands right now. So, again, wouldn't be surprised to see a hurricane knocking on the door of the northern Leeward Islands by about Tuesday. Vorticity, this is 850. Remember yesterday it was much more elongated. Now it's starting to consolidate and come together. Again, it passed that 10 north marker, and it's just really going to be on its way to develop here. Okay, model runs. Here we go. Now, I usually take these forecasts into two steps. If you've listened to me over the years, when the system's out here, first I look towards the islands, where it's going to go, how it's going to affect them. That's pretty much in the near term. After that, then we have the long range, you know, Bahamas, United States. Does it curve out the sea? Does it go west? That's where the forecast becomes a little more muddled right now, and of course it will. We're way out in the time frame. We're 7 days out from that point, so it's going to become a little muddled. And I'll show you the two different scenarios and kind of where I'm hedging to right now. But you can see models are in very good agreement for a northern Leeward Island hit here, and definitely going to affect the islands one way or the other. And then from there, does it make a hard right and miss Puerto Rico? I highly doubt that right now, and I'll show you why in a minute. Or does it continue on that west-northwest path? Does it even take a more western path into the eastern Caribbean? Possible. I doubt it, though. I'm more along this line right in here and focusing more towards the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico eventually. Clark Evans, just to show you more model runs. Again, you know, kind of we're in two boats. Once we pass the islands, then we're in two boats. More west or more hook out to sea. So that's where it becomes muddled in this time frame, in that 5-day time frame out in here. More west or more northwest. But definitely you see very focused on the islands in about 72 hours. Which would again put it in about that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, Tuesday time frame. Intensity models, now you're probably seeing, wow, look at this spread. It is a pretty good spread, but our main focus is the LGIM and the ships, which are the two intensity models we really focus on more. And they're showing a pretty quick development into a hurricane and almost close to a Category 3 hurricane. This is as it nears the islands here around a Category 2. So they're showing low shear, favorable environment for a hurricane to eventually develop. Okay, so now the models are in two different areas. We have no gaps, we have Euro, really showing, let me show you the GFS first here. Here's the GFS, and we'll just put this into motion here. You see northern Leeward Islands, over Puerto Rico, and then out to sea. We have this trough in here, across the western Atlantic that's going to develop and eventually move this system out to sea according to the GFS. Now the Euro model, and just to show you here, this is kind of, I just like this one because it's pretty simple for simple people to really follow this. This goes out to about 6-7 days, and you can see this ridge trying to nudge back in here towards the end of this time frame here. It really closes off this area here and really builds back the western Atlantic ridge to really put a block on whatever wants to develop and maybe push it more towards the west. The no gap shows a more western move as well. It's kind of that same scenario. So we kind of have the two battle of the models here. The GFS showing a stronger trough and out to sea we go, whereas the Euro is showing this ridge really building back into this area in about that Thursday, Friday time frame. Through the summer here, I've noticed that the GFS, especially in the long range, is really showing a stronger trough here along the east coast, only to really weaken it in the end. Except for Brett. Brett was an exception. That trough really dug pretty far south. But other than that, it's really shown that, and the Euro model has been a little more consistent on the upper air pattern there. So, again, my bet right now is if you really want to know, people always want to know, is it going to hit the United States? You know, this far out, they want to know. I think this is going to come closer to the Bahamas and the United States than the GFS is forecasting right now. I'll give you that much at least. I really don't think it's going to really go out to sea like this. I think we're going to come farther west. Now, does farther west mean go over all the islands and really, you know, go over Hispaniola and dissipate or, you know, get disrupted? Yeah, that's possible. When I mean farther west, it could come farther west this way, you know, so. But I don't think we're going to see a rapid hook out to sea like the GFS is showing right now. Again, I could be wrong, but that's where I'm going with right now. So be aware of it. But at least in the near term, northern Leewards, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, be on alert for this system. I did want to show you one other thing. I wanted to show you the steering map. Let me see if I can get the steering map on here just real quick for you guys. I know this is a long video here, but I didn't put up the steering map real quick here. So let's put that real quick here. And let's see right here. I just wanted to show you what the steering was going to be looking like here. We'll make this storm just a little stronger here just to show you different layers here. But anyway, this is what we have been showing you. And this is what I mean. This ridge is moving, retrograding west. This is the trough that's going to come down and build across the western Atlantic early this week. And that's going to tug on this system to move west-northwest. And then what's going to happen? Will this trough retreat quickly and this Azores high move back to the west quickly, block this system, and move it more west? So those are the two guys that we're going to see battle it out to see where it's going to take this system next week. Long time frame. We'll see what happens. That's it for my update today. Again, follow me on Facebook, Robert ACANFRIO, and I will have another update probably tomorrow. Have a good day.